How do you feel about New York? Do you hate it? Love it? We're going to talk about it with Ballers up next.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Enter with the dog pound. New York, New York.
Hey,
Ballers fans, welcome. Thank you for checking in for episode 6.
Ooh, 6, yes.
Yes.
Episode 6.
We're
We're
there.
halfway through the season
Yes.
of Ballers. I Hate New York. I'm your host, Jill Munroe. You can follow me everywhere at Stiletto Jill. To my left is the lovely Ivanna Williams.
Yes.
Ivanna, where can they find you?
Hey everyone, it's Ivanna Williams. You can follow me on Twitter at Ivanna L. Williams.
Nate.
I wasn't sure if I should go or
You
you were
should
gonna go.
go. You
Okay.
should. Jump
Hey
right
guys,
in.
it's Nate Miller here. You
Jesus
can find me on
Christ.
all social media at Talk Like Nate.
Hi guys, thanks for joining us this Sunday. You can find me at Twitter and Instagram at Suzette Babb. And then we have the beautiful Brittany here, who is the baby
Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah,
Thanks for coming.
stopping by.
Now,
Absolutely.
if you haven't paid attention this season, Ricky has a baby on the way. from
Hello.
Amber, which is played by the lovely Brittany Hall. So we're going to be talking to Brittany, finding out more about her character, Amber,
so many
and
questions.
getting into her
Okay.
storyline.
All right.
But first, let's get a little bit into the episode. And Brittany, you watched some of it with us, so you can chime
did.
in.
Yes.
The main storyline for tonight is Spencer's in peril once again. So they've gotten $100 million from
Yes.
Wayne Hastings
Yes.
for the Las Vegas casino deal. And now they have to figure out how to get the rest of the money. So it is heading off to New York to speak to some investors, but there's a twist.
Yeah, I mean, I love the way that this storyline starts out, just them in the office, and it's always nice because we've got Anderson as kind of like this featured character. We'll see him a little bit in an episode. He'll come, he'll yell, he'll curse, he'll leave. So it was kind of nice to see him at the beginning of an episode and then saying, all right, we're going to go do this thing right now. So it's like, oh shit, we're going to get a whole episode with him.
He's going to
So I
be
was
part
really
of the
excited.
team.
Yeah, and it's so, we've seen them be at odds for so long. It's weird seeing them together, but this whole episode was a great like bonding moment for them. And especially when they're on the jet after they've practiced their pitch and they're nervous, and the chair gag with him like turning around was really
Funny
funny.
guy.
Yeah.
The
Appreciated
banter, the
that.
dialogue was like on point this
Yeah.
episode, especially between them. I don't know. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Oh, they're great back and forth.
Yeah.
They're great.
Yeah, and then the brother reveal was
Julian as the actual CEO of
I mean,
Anderson
it
Financial
makes
Real Estate.
sense, but it's so funny that like he waited like literally to the last moment to say something about it. I could tell there was something he was nervous about. I wasn't sure if he was like just like out of practice and like hadn't pitched in a while, and that's why he was nervous.
But does it make sense? Because I felt off guard that they had to go find the real boss of Anderson Financial. Like,
That
I
it was
thought
strange.
That was
a
very
little.
I thought it was strange. It made me kind of not trust Brett. Like, well, what else are you hiding?
Exactly.
For real.
Yeah.
And
And we saw him being so unsure of himself, which we've never seen him be. You know, he was awkward, he was uncomfortable. It's like that sibling rivalry, so it was a little strange.
They really have a different dynamic to where you can see that because he's the older brother, right? Julian is.
No,
And he's
Julian's
the younger
the
brother. And for him to
brother.
be the
He's
younger
younger.
brother, and for him to have like the upper hand,
That
and he's
happens
more
a lot of
straightforward.
families, though, yeah.
It's so terrible. So he like really like cowers, to his
I feel
brother.
like we get to see his power struggle.
Absolutely.
I feel like we get that
Yeah.
with every character.
Absolutely.
So it
Yeah.
came around to him finally. And it's good to see because it even shows that like the people who are higher up still have their own battle with power.
Yeah, well, they're still
At the end
people.
of the
They still have
day.
families
Yeah,
and brothers
exactly.
that
They're
treat them
still,
like
like,
shit that
exactly.
they hate talking to.
Yeah.
That's wild.
okay, so another storyline, we're going to dip off of that for a second, and we're going to talk about Seifert, Charles,
Yes.
and Coach Berg. Now, we saw
Oh,
the fisticuffs
man.
that popped off
Right.
last week in the living room over Julie's brisket.
So it looks like the brisket has not settled the differences
Right.
between Coach Berg and Seifrig.
Not
Which,
much
by the way, what's funny is that even though I know Coach Berg is an asshole, like I still really like him, and I really just dislike Larry. And I think a lot of it is because we know that he just is pushing Charles buttons and trying to take credit. And
Yeah.
so again, he wants him to do more dirty work. So now you're gonna fire Coach Berg, but I love how he always makes it. Well, it's kind of your fault. I mean, you had us over for dinner, it didn't work. You know, the meat wasn't
Amen.
that good.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, God, and it's like, I mean, at the end of the episode, we finally see that he's gonna now stand up for himself. But it's kind of like it's always too little, too late. You know? What do you think?
I just think that Seifert is manipulative, and Berg just wants to win. He's honest about
He's
that.
being a coach. He
He's
wants
being
to-
a coach
yeah,
and
of
just
course.
Yeah.
putting it all out there. I feel bad for Charles because he is in that pawn position, just kind of being pushed and manipulated around. Even with the Kassan signing, it's like,
Yeah, especially with
I
that.
mean, what he said point blank. If he's a success, looks great for me.
Yeah.
If he fails, it's on you. So
Yeah.
it's no win for Charles, and it's kind of a messed up position. And he has a point that he could go someplace else and make great
Definitely.
things happen.
So I wanted to know, whenever Charles walked in and he wanted to have that conversation, did you think that he was going to open up and they were going to finally like talk about it? Or did you think he was going to just brush under the rug?
With Larry?
No, Charles and
sorry.
yeah, exactly. He's like, do you want to talk about what happened? He was like, nope, but you know, your wife cooked a great meal. Thanks for the to-go plate.
Well, I mean, Charles likes to talk about his feelings.
Yeah,
That's what him and
right.
his wife do. But
Did
not
y'all think they were
everyone's
gonna talk about
that.
it all?
No.
No.
Really?
No, because
Okay.
he's not that kind of person.
I mean,
Yeah.
what do you think being, an actor in the industry? It's like, it always is, a power struggle with maybe your manager or your agents. Like, how do you deal with some of those things too?
It's interesting because I'm actually in an acting class right now. The scene that we had to practice, we had to kind of use the way of using a substitution in your real life where you actually had a power struggle with someone. And it's interesting because you want to be polite to these people, but it's only so much you can take. And it's like, do I speak up for myself? Or, it's, I feel like just in life in general, not even as an actress, but just in life, you're going to meet a power struggle, whether it's with like your parents or siblings, coworkers, anything. You're always going to have a power struggle. So I get that. I feel like that's a constant journey that's going to
Definitely,
happen.
yeah.
And I feel like I love seeing it on the show with each character because it really shows that like no matter what position they're in, they have their own loss of power towards something else
Yeah.
or someone else.
You never reach
know?
the top of the ladder.
It's a vulnerability that you get to see with each character that I really appreciate for the show.
Yeah.
'cause
Yeah.
It adds more to them, more depth.
Yeah,
to
more
each
substance.
character. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So we didn't get to see Amber's character this week, but
Yeah.
Amber is in a power struggle sort of with Ricky. Tell us, how did you get this role, and were you a fan of the show before you got on, and how did you kind of approach this character?
Well, of course I was a fan of the show. Like, I'm a really big Dwayne Johnson fan. So when I got this, it was like a true blessing because I was like, oh my gosh, I'm on the right path because I really like admire his work ethic. Like, it's ridiculous, and just him as a person. So that was a blessing to be a part of it. And the process was this character actually started out as a guest star. So when I auditioned, I wasn't expecting to be on it for a long period of time.
Brittany's a series regular.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Give
Yes,
it up. So you know what that
congrats.
means.
Yes.
Season 4.
We're going to see a baby.
Yeah.
And a baby.
I mean, I can't
And a
tell you
couple.
anything.
She can't say for sure. This is what we are putting
Speculating.
on her.
Yeah, right.
speculation, But
So, yeah, but it was cool. It was a good process. I mean, I auditioned, I want to say 2 to 3 times. And when I got it, they were like, oh, it's going from this many episodes to this many episodes. And then I was like, oh my gosh, it's so amazing. So it just seemed like I could grow with the character. When I got to set, I love the set, the people that I work with, like just because I've been on sets that are more serious.
Right.
Storylines are very serious. So this was like really a comedy set. So it was enjoyable. Like, you know, we get to improv sometimes and really just go off each other's energy in the scene. And then, you know, when they say cut, people are still laughing. So it's just really good energy. And I just love being a part of it.
That's great.
Yeah. And as far as Amber, you know, they wanted her sassy. And
We got that. You're
yeah,
doing
they
Yeah.
wanted her
You're
to be
doing
very
sassy.
sassy.
You don't say.
And I have a lot of inner sass.
Yeah.
You know, I was born in D.C. and grew up in Maryland. I feel like we just have some sass. We just right together.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
yes.
And I feel like Ricky needs a woman like that.
Yes, he
because
does.
He just does. You
More
know, and
structure.
yeah, like a strong woman that's like, no. You need to be checking. I'm the one to check you. You got the right one today.
Right.
And that's Amber. So I think it's great.
So it's kind of interesting. We're going to stay with Brittany for a little bit. You actually got your start in reality TV.
I did.
So can you tell us a little bit about that and which
Sure.
show? And I mean, just because there's so
Anything.
many people that are on reality TV that want to make that crossover and don't quite make it to serious roles and regular roles, and you have successfully. How did that come about, and was it your plan when you started out on this particular show that she's going to share with us to use that to bump your career up, or did that come along as you were filming?
Well, okay, so I've been doing theater my entire life, and I went to college for acting. Mass communications, so pretty much learning to do what you're doing now, and theater. And then I got the opportunity to audition for the show through MySpace. I got an email.
Wow.
And it was like,
It was Real Chance of Love,
Yeah,
y'all.
Real Chance of
VH1.
Love.
So
Yep.
OG VH1 reality
Yeah.
TV.
Oh,
Yes.
yes, took it all the way back,
Yes.
2009. So I got the email, and they said, come audition in New York. It was my first time in New York. I was literally in and out, did the audition. At the time, I was a waitress at Hooters.
I love that.
So I was just doing the waitress thing, and then I remember I got the call at work, like, you booked this show, and I was like, I had literally just turned 21, so I'm still a baby, still naive, thinking like, this is gonna be an opportunity to open doors for acting,
Right.
blah, blah, blah. So it was like a whole experience doing it. Of course, being a baby on television, I didn't quite watch too much of the shows, and I didn't understand what doing a reality show
What it would be.
what it would be.
Yeah.
I completely didn't understand. I didn't realize that people wouldn't be able to separate
Right.
TV from reality. I mean, it's reality TV, but it's still for entertainment. So
When you look at it from the outside, I mean, it's made to look like everything is real. Like
Yeah.
everything's raw. But when you're there from the production side, you see that it's just like everything else you see on TV. It's manufactured.
Exactly.
You see
And
what
I
they
didn't
want you
Their
to see.
structure, their scripts.
Yeah, and it came with some aftermath I wasn't ready for. Yeah, and then after that, I was just making a living off of hosting parties and all that stuff. But it was actually a time where I went through, like, a lot of hardships, fell into depression. And the thing that pretty much got me back together was I started going to acting class. And that kind of, like, fed my spirit, fed my soul. I found my agent in that class. And then I started, like, literally, I signed with the agent, and then 15 minutes later he sent me an audition. So he sent me he was just getting me out, and then I started booking things, and I booked a television show called Satisfaction. I was a reoccurring the first season. The second season I was a series regular because I was in every episode, but I was recurring, and so I did 2 seasons of that, supporting and co-star and movie. So
That's great.
yeah, but it's been a journey. I feel like for me, I kind of had to make people forget that I was a reality star. So I kind of had to fall back and really just be like, I'm going to take myself seriously as an actress. You know what I mean?
So there's definitely like some rebranding that takes place.
It was a whole rebranding
Yeah.
I felt like I had to do for me. I mean, I don't know about everyone else, but because I wanted to be taken as a serious actress, I didn't want to get roles because of my following or any. I wanted to go in the room like every other actress and audition, and you know what I mean, put in the work and put in the effort. I didn't want to cheat. And I actually had an Instagram with over 200,000 followers, and I freaking got rid of it. Started my Instagram over. I just was like, I want to be seen kind of like everyone else. I want to fit in the bowl. Screw the reality TV thing. I just
Wow, that
wanna
takes a lot
dive
to
in.
do that.
It was a struggle.
Because a lot of people just try to build on what they already have and rebrand that way.
And ride
They don't
that
want to
wave.
scrap it all and start from the
I
bottom
scrapped
again.
it. I was like, I want to embrace the challenge of what it takes to become an actor, and it wasn't easy at all.
That
And
takes a
look
lot
at
of
where
courage.
I know, and look at where it's taking you because
Yeah.
I mean, again, you don't see that many, and that's no shade, reality stars that took
It's
their
very
acting
difficult for them to
seriously and
transition.
to transition
Yeah.
into that. It's hard for them to escape those kind
Well,
of.
it's also great that you got an agent that is working really
I
hard.
am
Like just
so
like you said,
blessed.
15 minutes in, he's setting you work. Like
Yes.
that's exactly.
This isn't all my doing. I can't say that. I have supportive family, supportive friends, supportive team, who saw the bigger picture in me and was like, we see where you're going. I felt like my purpose was to show that it can be done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can take this route, but if you don't want to stay on this road and you want to redirect yourself, go ahead.
Do it.
Yeah.
You know, it might take some extra effort, extra time.
The door
but
is still there.
it can be done.
Yeah.
So
You spoke about taking classes and things. So do you prefer, because I know on your bio you also do like stand-up comedy. Is there a preference? Do you prefer stand-up comedy? Do you prefer drama? Somewhere in between?
I did stand up in New York. It takes a lot of bravery to do that, and I think that's what drew me to it.
Oh, that sounds
I like
nerve-wracking.
I like
So scary.
challenges. What I did was, at the time I was living in New York, so I would literally ride the train. I studied comedians, so Richard Pryor. I was watching
Yes.
Eddie Murphy. Like I was studying because I was
greats.
like, there's a formula.
Definitely.
You know what I mean? And to me, the formula was like, give people something to relate to, something honest, something that they can see, feel, you know, that they experience. So I would literally ride the train and I would people watch and then create stories off of what I watched. And then I would turn it into a set. And that's kind of like, you know what I mean? I felt like the people in New York understood what the stories were because they ride the trains, they see the same things. So it takes a lot of bravery. I do enjoy the freedom you get doing stand-up, doing improv. I'm a lot more challenged now with what I'm studying. I'm at Ivanna Studios, and there's like a method, and it's very challenging, and it's kind of uncomfortable because it's so challenging, and I almost want to draw back, but then I'm like, I need this. You know, I need to be challenged. I need to expand. So,
I remember you spoke earlier about your time, you know, just dealing with depression, really battling that. Did you ever find a way to include that in your comedy work?
Did I? I don't think so.
Because sometimes people find a way, other times they're like, let me just back off of that, and I'm not ready for it yet.
I don't think I did in my comedy work. I did in acting class.
Okay.
In my classes, it would kind of pour out of me.
Yes.
It was like the place where it was like my therapy and like just the exercises we were doing. I remember there was this one class and the teacher was like, you have to say this one phrase to this one person the entire time. And like, I was just like screaming and crying. And I was like, where's all this coming from? But you know, there's things that you just latch onto and you feel a certain way and you don't really get a place to release it. And sometimes that just happens to be class or a stage or in front of people, you know?
Wow.
So it's intense sometimes, yeah.
And then, so on the side, you also teach yoga. And
I do. I teach yoga and spin.
We need to go.
I know, right? So you teach at Yaz, which
Yeah.
the first time I took a yoga and a spin class was at their first location in
Really?
Venice. Yeah, when they first opened like years ago. So,
wow.
So how did you get into that? And do you incorporate, because that's, I feel like yoga is a very spiritual practice. And I know you mentioned digging sort of into your spirituality as you've moved through that. Is that something that came about from living here? Is it kind of like the LA trail, as people say? You get here and you get into fitness and eating habits change and all of that.
You get a dog.
It's interesting because before I moved here, I lived in Atlanta and I was really, really into fitness and working out. Like I had the six pack, I was cut, I was swole, I was there. And then I moved here and I don't know what happened, but I wasn't in the mood to be in a gym anymore. It was like, I want to go hiking. I want to go running. Like I got into running, which is wild to me because I've always been was a sprinter in college and high school. I did hurdles. So long distance was like, who's doing that?
Right. Sprinters
Not me.
and long distance runners completely two sides of the track. Right.
I'm going to get this done.
Yeah.
And then that's it. And then I got here and now I was 4 miles. I'm like, what's happening to me? You know? So I do feel like LA had a great influence. Especially with yoga, my friends were into it, so they kind of brought me into it. Somehow I ended up at the studio. I was working there, and they were like, do you want to train to be a teacher? And I was like, you guys want me to be?
Me?
Okay. So did that, and I wasn't expecting to be so moved by it, but it's something about being an instructor where you see people on the other side and you see how they push themselves and like, you know, you see the determination and the intention in their faces and what they're doing, and it's very inspiring for me. So that's why I really fell in love with it, because it's like I get to guide them through that, you know? So yeah, it gives something back to me that I love.
Nice. So as you get busier, is it something you still will go back to, like teaching classes?
I plan on opening my own studio.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah, like
I'll be there.
Yeah. We were just talking about looking for fitness alternatives. So I was like, we're gonna have to hit Brittany up.
Yeah.
See what her class schedule is.
Because I was like, I want to do aerial yoga. I want to get into all types of stuff.
Yes, whenever I'm with you on that. I haven't tried it yet, but I'm ready for it.
Thank
so whenever you guys are ready.
And also you have to go take Brittany's class.
Yes, we do.
Okay, so let's kind of swing it back to the episode. We briefly saw Ricky at the doctor's office dealing with his issues. So
finally,
right.
Right.
Let's talk a little
and
bit
it was
about
pretty
that.
much what we assumed it already was. But she just kind of dropped it on him. She's like, dude, it's post-concussion syndrome. And you can tell he's having a really hard time trying to handle that. I can see that he was like processing the information and like, what does that mean for me, my career, my future, and everything.
And remember, he just dropped $2 million in Vegas. So.
And she was trying to tell him, she was trying to tell him the ways that, to work with that and like eating healthy. He's like, you mean to tell me all I have to do is eat guacamole or something? I'm like, dude.
Avocados, blueberries.
Right.
Those super
yes, the super fruits. Yeah. But hey, I don't know. I have no idea what else this is going to mean for him or what his next steps are going to be either, because...
Well, his next step looks like he just wants to be on a team and sign, because he's probably paranoid right now, because he's thinking...
Then he's going to go get his girl, because clearly...
Where is she?
Right.
Can you tell us?
She just packed up to move.
Hashtag where's Amber?
For me...
Hashtag
where's Amber? For me, it was interesting because they kind of, when she was introduced, portrayed her as thotting and bopping, out there in these streets. But yeah, he was like, Amber's the type of girl that
stable.
Yeah,
but
not
she had
stable.
Her own place, had movers,
for a
and
night, not for the wifey status. And then she's just like, oh, you want to act up? Guess what? I'm moving and I'm moving on. So I thought that was kind of an interesting twist, because usually what you hear is, I don't know, I'm gonna take care of me and the baby, and I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I like that Amber is strong in self, and we don't even know if what he was saying about her was true or not, or any of those things. So we look forward to seeing that this season, but we know that.
Anything you can tell us?
Anything to look that she'll be back.
Okay.
And more firecracker. Like, do we have a lot to look? Yeah, she's gonna set it off. Yeah.
I mean,
is she still gonna be?
She's gonna set it off, but I mean, let me think.
Is she still gonna be hopping over walls? That's what I want to know, because that was wild. Okay.
I'm still wishing that we're gonna meet his mother.
Suzette has a theory about his mom. Yeah.
Really?
Yes, because it's odd. Like, it wasn't, his father's the one who was never there. Where's his amazing mom?
You know what? You're so right about that.
So we're hoping that Amber brings the mom back into the fold.
That would be good.
It's
Interesting,
very
right? Connecting things.
Yeah.
Well, since we're at sort of the end, let's get into predictions. We're going to start with you, Suzette.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Predictions for what exactly? For everything?
Everything, whichever part you want to take on. If you want to talk about Seifert and Berg and Charles, what do you think Charles is going to do? Do you think Seifert makes it to the end of the season?
Yes, I do think that Seifert's going to stay around, but I do think that it's time that Charles moves on. It really is. I mean, I was even shocked that he had said yes to firing Coach Berg. I just was like,
really?
Well, yes, because he's already had to do so much dirty work, but I don't know, I guess his wife is the one, who's always like, stand up for yourself, you have to do your own thing. So, I mean, obviously she does well, so it's time that he goes somewhere else.
I have a small added prediction to that. I think they really set him up to be like the villain in this episode, because before he was just kind of like an ass, just kind of like how Berg is an ass, but he's like a likable ass. To here, we really saw that he's really not. He's just kind of like evil. He's just out for his own good. He doesn't care who he screws over.
Shout out to Kassan. He signed Kassan though. He said it's going to be Charles's problem.
Yeah, because he knows it's a good choice. But if Charles does leave, I think then now they've already set him up to have like a nemesis. So it's going to be Charles. Even if he gets another job, now he's dealing with some type of pressure from Seifert in some other way. Yeah.
Oh, my turn. Okay. Yeah, no, that was wild. Towards the end, I didn't know if that was just a whole lot of drunk talk, but he was saying he's going to sell everything he owns, cash it all in for the stadium, and he's even going to sell the company. Were you the one that predicted, like, I think they're going to have to sell the company?
I was.
I think it was both of y'all.
Yeah, because my feeling was that having the company being the financial manager was bogging down the script and kind of how they wanted to progress.
You can't feasibly do
so
both.
I feel like they need to be of the sports world in some capacity. I think they avoided the agent thing because it was too typical, and we kind of saw that with Ari Gold.
So if they do that, I think that'll be a very interesting thing to see. But I think it's gonna definitely be some more sibling rivalry, which is fine with me because it makes for great
you think
drama.
Julian's gonna stick around?
No, I don't. But I don't know. I feel like they're gonna clash, like him and his brother. That's what I'm saying. There's a sibling rivalry. So like I said, it makes for good drama. I can't wait to see that happen.
I do feel bad though for the fans because I don't think we're gonna see Joe and Spencer really interacting anymore with the players. So it seems very separate.
Definitely
seems
not.
like we just have all these different storylines going on. Because if he's no longer their financial advisor, why would he stop over? Like it feels, it's kind of like he's abandoning them because he's more worried about his career and himself versus all the players.
I feel like they're going to get in some type of CAA situation where it's some type of branding thing, something for them to still be involved in their careers and so forth, but not managing their money. So I don't know. We'll see. Any predictions, Brittany?
Amber gonna be back.
Okay. We'll take that.
Okay. We know that. Well, that's episode 6 of Ballers I Hate New York. 3 more episodes to go.
Yes.
Like we said, congratulations to Brittany Hall, who's been up to a series regular. We are so excited that you will be
again.
Thank you.
all the way through. We thank you for coming out and checking us out, and we thank you guys for tuning in. Remember, if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a thumbs up. If you're listening on iTunes, leave us 5 stars. And before I forget, we want to thank you all for all your support. We have some exciting news. There's lots happening here at AfterBuzz. We're going to be changing how AfterBuzz runs. If you're a longtime listener or fan of the site, just know that there's going to be lots of changes. We're going to be changing the YouTube channel, restructuring. We're still going to have after shows, but they're going to look a little different. So keep watching the channel and checking out so you can see those changes coming up. Make sure you check out Ivanna on Insecure, Nate on The Defender, Suzette.
Just my life.
Just check out her life.
She has a
There's so many changes, so I don't really know if my shows are back. I don't think they are.
In the meantime, where can they check you out on social media?
You can find me at Suzette Babb. I will be there. I will still be there.
I'll be there.
Nate?
Find me on all social media, Dog Like Nate.
Hey, again, thanks for watching. I'm Ivanna Williams. You can follow me on Twitter at Ivanna L. Williams.
I'm Jill Munroe. You can follow me everywhere at Stiletto Jill. And our guest, Brittany Hall, you can find her.
I am Brittany Hall.
I am Brittany Hall on Twitter and Instagram. Make sure you check out her Insta stories and hit that follow button. We'll see you guys next week. Thanks for checking us out.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.